Hello everybody, Gliderman here. So today we're back with our character, and now we're going to be working on inverse kinematics for our character here. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be selecting this armature, and we're going to be going to edit mode again. And so we're going to be adding in some bones for it to work properly. So let's just go into front view, and let's just do Shift A. So we've got a bone here, we've got the snap to grid on, and so basically we're going to work on the target bones first. So basically we're going to have this arm point with this little tip at the base of this, and that's kind of how the inverse kinematics works. It doesn't point at the middle of the bone, it points right at the base of it. And so basically what the inverse kinematics will do is if we say put inverse kinematics on this bone and with a chain length of 2, so it'll control this bone, and then we set its target to be this bone out here. Basically it'll automatically bend this joint and this joint here, even though, you know, it's kind of spaced out there, but it'll bend there and it'll bend there in an effort to make this little tip right at the location of the base of this bone. And so that can be very useful for, let's just say you want your character to put their hand on a chair or something and you want them to stand up. Well, you just simply put this right where you want them to grab the chair, and it will and while your character is like picking themselves up, the arm will automatically bend and look correct without you having to animate it over and over again, trying to get it perfect. So it's a real time saver, and it's pretty cool. So let's go into front view again, front view, and then we'll grab Z, and we'll put that right there. So that's where that's going to sit, and let's just grab that top one and then bump that down a little bit. Now we'll just duplicate that with Shift D, and we'll press Escape. So now there's 2 copies, well, 1 copy and 1 original there. We'll grab and we'll drop it down there, and I'm going to put it right in the middle there, as you can kind of see there. So now I'm just going to rotate 90, and then I'm going to press the negative sign so that it flips, so that it's pointing the other way. And then I just want to line that up. I should probably line it up based on the front here. Yeah, right about there, I think. You can go into Z to also confirm it. Okay, so now we've got those 2 bones. Now, the inverse kinematics isn't super smart, and, you know, it doesn't know where an elbow is. So if you take this and let's just say you push it closer to the body, well, which way does it bend? Does it bend so that it's out the back? Well, what's the back? It doesn't know what the back is. Does it go up, down, random angles? Well, that's what we're going to handle now with what's called a pole target. And basically that's going to allow it to say, hey, bend so that the elbow joint, or the general direction of it, goes towards this bone. So we're just going to duplicate this one. I'm going to move it right there, and it looks like we need to center that. That's centered. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bone down here. And actually, first I want to pull that back right about to there, so that when it bends, it doesn't actually just bend to it, and things wind up going weird. I want it out there so that no matter what, it's impossible for that bone to bend so that it reaches that. And then for this one, we're going to go back into side view, and we'll duplicate. We'll lift that up, and we want that even there. We can confirm that with wireframe, and then we'll just move that out right about there. And you'll notice I'm only doing one side, and we'll basically do the flip names and the mirror stuff with that. But first, we need to name them. So not in the armature tab here, but in our single bone tab, we're going to start naming them, and we're going to try to make sure that they're like applicable names. So with this, we're going to call this arm target .l, and this arm pole target .l, so that we can easily find them and easily use them in the inverse kinematics. Now we're going to go and do the same thing with the leg bones. So let's see what this call it. Okay, just for leg. So we'll call this leg target .l, and then we'll call this leg pole target .l, like that. Okay, so those are now all configured. So now we're just going to do a selection of all of these new bones that we've added. We're going to do Shift D so that there's a duplicate copy there, and then we're going to do Control M, and then we're going to mirror along the X. Oh, you know what? That's slightly messed up, and I just realized screencast keys wasn't on. So we want to set this to 3D cursor, which you can see is down right on that middle portion. And if it isn't, like let's just say you left clicked over there, just click Shift C, and that will reset everything. And actually, I want to go back to object mode and get rid of that plane. Let's Shift C again. Basically, that's also a recenter. And back to edit mode. So we should still have the duplicate copy. So we'll do Control M, and then we'll just tap X, and now you can see it's mirrored right to the other side. And now we're going to do armature and flip names. So now all this is .r instead of .l, and that's all nicely done for us. So we only had to technically build those 4 extra bones once, and that's pretty convenient. Now, the way this character is set up, this is just the way that I would like to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of these extra bones that we just added, and I'm going to make them all parented to that one root node. If you wanted to, perhaps you could have made these all parent like a separate bone that was like out here. If you had wanted to, you could have like all of these parented to their own like core bone, and then have this, and then have that and the core bone parented to this root bone. But I don't think I'm going to do that for this. Like I don't think that's necessary. So with that root bone selected last, I'm going to do Control P, and then instead of connected, which will jump a lot of the bones to that, I want keep offset, and now you can see that there's a bunch of lines running out so that they're going to stay in place if you move this root bone. So now everything will stay in place should we move the root bone. So now we can move on to building the inverse kinematics. So one of the things that I found you need to have with it, so if we just go into top view, and then we're going to go to pose mode, and then we're going to go to this bone constraints tab, and we'll leave that there for right now. And with this bone selected, you can see that the rotation point is right there, and snapping is on. So we're going to press R, and then we're going to just rotate it up a little bit like that. And we're going to grab this one, press R, and rotate it down a little bit like that. And you'll notice that I bent that back directly towards this pole target. Now this seems to make it much happier in it being able to figure out exactly what it needs to do, because it knows that there's a joint here that's bending like this, and that's how it would bend towards that. And I don't believe you need this to be exactly right on the dot. However, if you wanted to, you could drop it down, but even so, that's still not exactly perfect, but it's reasonably close. I prefer not to do that. I've had success with it set up like that, so I'm going to do it that way. Now on this forearm part selected, or whatever is the furthest along down the chain with your arm that you want to have inverse kinematics, you're going to select that, and you're going to do add bone constraint, and then inverse kinematics. So now you can see this is turned yellow, and you can also see that there's this little yellow line, or orange, or whatever, going to the root bone, and that's simply because the chain length is 0. If we set up everything first, we'll get to that. So now we're going to select the target, and obviously we're going to select the armature, and then we're going to, for the pole target, we're also going to use the armature. That's if, like, you had the camera as, you know, the pole target, or the target, or whatever. So you could do that, let's just say, with, like, the eye, or something like that. I don't know. It depends. And now, with that armature, we get the option to choose the bone. So this is our left forearm. So for the target, we need the arm target.L. And then we also need the arm pole target.L. And now you can see, oh no, what happened? Everything's kind of going weird there. So that's due to the chain length. So if we increase that to 1 even, you can see it's starting to correct itself. And you can see it's actually pointing already right at that bone there. And if we increase the chain length to 2, you can see it's now corrected itself. So if I zoom in, you can see it's pointing right there. So now, if we just mess around with this, let's just turn off snapping for now, you can see we've got our arm bending like that. And let's just grab it. You can see everything is working there quite nicely. And let's just say that had been down there. You can see it's actually bending to point there. And that, of course, affects, you know, the elbow joint of that. So now we've got one inverse kinematics portion set up there. Now let's just do the other arm real quick. Shift tab to enable the snap, rotate and rotate. Have that selected. Go here, inverse kinematics, select armature, and then we need to select arm target.R, arm pole target.R, chain length of 2, and then we can test and confirm that that's working. Oh no, it isn't. It's actually bending down, which is kind of weird. Let's see. Yeah, those are now the exact opposite. So, where this comes in to be fixed is the pole angle here. So, obviously, since it's 90 degrees off, that means that we need to adjust it by 90. Okay, looks like that was the wrong 90 degree angle to adjust with. So now with the negative 90, we've got it pointing properly. So you'll have that every once in a while where it'll want to get adjusted. And sometimes you can kind of tell by the spin of the model which way it should be adjusted. But now we've got that done. So we're going to grab our target. We'll do Alt-G and then Alt-G on that. And that'll reset the position. Now we're going to do the legs. So with this bone selected, let's go into side view. And then we'll do, we need snapping on. Well, technically you don't need snapping on, but I prefer snapping on so that I get just a 5 degree bend. Now with this, I'm going to add a bone constraint, inverse kinematics, armature, armature, and then we're going to scroll down here. which the scrolling can be a little bit weird. Like if your mouse is moving, you can see it's kind of flicking up to the mouse, and so it's weird there, but whatever. It's just something that you need to get used to. So we're going to select the leg target.l, and then we're going to scroll down again, and we're going to select the leg pull target.l. You can see everything goes wonky, and then we adjust the chain length to 2. It looks like it's twisted. Let's try a 90. Nope. Twisted the other way. There we go. So now this one should be good. So if we just disable the snap, press G, now we've got our inverse kinematics there. And you can also see where this would be very useful for running animations, so that you can have it moving along the ground, or actually technically not. You could actually say, okay, the foot's going to sit here, and then while the body is moving, it all just works. So I'm just going to press escape to remove that there. And then we're going to go here. Let's do control numpad 3 so that we go into side view. And of course, all of these different views are right here for you to easily select them. And do shift tab to do the snap, and then shift tab, and then we're going to do bone constraint, inverse kinematics, armature, and scroll down, leg target.r, scroll down, leg pull target.r, chain length of 2, looks like it's twisted. Let's try a -90. And it can be, like the pull angle and how much it rotates can vary. It's just how it works is really all I can say. Like with this one where we didn't need to adjust the pull angle, but this one we did. And then these ones, I guess, were the same. You don't need to worry about this iterations number. The 500 doesn't actually really affect performance with it. So it's not like you're going to worry about, oh no, my render is going to take longer. I mean, you can see if I just double tap G, or actually, if I disable snapping, if I double tap, or if I just tap G, you can see it's moving around pretty dang good. Now, one important thing to note is that with this, or with this, you cannot add, actually I think it might be with this, you cannot add constraints to this that have anything to do with either of these two bones, because that will completely mess up the mesh. So let's just say I had a limit distance, which I think is a pretty cool thing, and we just limit a distance from the armature, and we say pointed at the belly. So there's a certain distance, and you can see the distance is here. If we had it at 5, and we just grabbed, you can see the bone will not move more than 5 away from the belly bone here. However, if that was set to one of these, everything would go wonky, and everything would not work at all. But limit distance is pretty cool. I had originally set up in another model the limit distance from this, and you know, I was thinking, okay, well now I won't lose it. Well, yeah, that doesn't work. So I'm passing on that knowledge to you guys so that you guys don't make that same mistake. So anyway, now we've got our inverse kinematics all set up and ready to go. So I hope this was useful for you guys to know how to do inverse kinematics, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you want to be notified the instant the next episode comes out, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, bye!